Good evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV. We are broadcasting live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and this is news with me, Answana Esonyasi. Here are the main news headlines. On the margins of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the government of the Gambia, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, signed a general cooperation agreement with the Republic of Burundi. The National Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC, on Thursday took journalists to Bijilo and Jabang substations to inform the public about recent intermittent power supply and blackouts in several communities. And the Judiciary of the Gambia on Thursday held a joint conference with the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, FLAG, and other stakeholders on women and children's laws. The women of Fonyi Berefet have been commended by the country representative of WACOMP and United Purpose for performing extremely well in the last cold season production in their garden. Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And we now take a look at the news in detail. On the margins of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the government of the Gambia, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, signed a general cooperation agreement with the Republic of Burundi. As Alusise reports, Minister Tangara also held talks with his Zimbabwean counterpart.
The general cooperation agreement was signed by Dr. Mamadou Tangara, the Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, and his counterpart, Albert Singiro, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Development Cooperation of the Republic of Burundi. The two ministers described the signing ceremony as a strong commitment to jointly pursuing opportunities for both bilaterally and through the joint membership of multilateral institutions for the benefit of the peoples and governments of the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Burundi.
This is a translation into concrete action, the will of our two heads of states, President Adama Barrow and President Evariste Ndayishimiye. And I'm happy to sign it with my brother here, who was an excellent colleague in New York, really one of the finest diplomats defending Burundi, and we've always been working together closely, hand in glove. So we are happy today to be able to sign this framework of cooperation, and we hope that in the very near future we'll have a joint cooperation so that we learn from each other's best practices.
Ministers Tangara and Singiro have agreed to put in place the requisite political and institutional mechanism towards the realization of a vastly expanded bilateral relationship between the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Burundi. In a similar development, Minister Mamadou Tangara met with his counterpart, Honorable M.M. Sava, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Zimbabwe. The two ministers applauded the strong bilateral ties between Banjul and Harare and vowed to further deepen the relations in the fields of agriculture, education, health, trade and commerce. Burundi is in East Central Africa, south of the equator. The landlocked country of 11 million people is a historic kingdom and is one of the few countries in Africa whose borders were not determined by the colonial rulers. It is bordered by Rwanda to the north, Tanzania to the east and southeast, and the Democratic Republic of Congo to the west. Lake Tanganyika lies along its southwestern border. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alusise.
Now, the National Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC, on Thursday took journalists to Bijilo and Jabang substations to inform the public about recent intermittent power supply and blackouts in several communities. Babakar C was with the delegation and he now reports.
These seemingly never-ending power cuts, coupled with a lack of running water in many areas in recent months, have sparked public criticism of the nation's electricity and water provider NAWEC, particularly on social media. At the Bijilo substation, Benedict Jaju, Quality and Standards Manager Transmission and Distribution, said the problem is beyond NAWEC because the demand for electricity is more than the capacity they can produce.
In Bijilo here we have 4 feeders. One is dedicated to the water supply, that is the borehole feeder. The second is the Bijilo feeder that feeds the hotels, Senegambia, Kairaba and other hotels. Then you have the Tranquil feeder and the Brusubi feeder feeding parts of Serekunda. Because of the overload, we still have to do load shedding because of the failure at Bijilo, Jabang. We will visit Jabang from here so that people will see the nature of works that are going on in Jabang.
At Jabang substation, both transformers are not working and need maintenance or replacement. The NAWEC PRO, Pierre Silva, explains.
During the peak period, we don't have that much needed capacity to be able to put everybody on board. And we have to use a method of knocking out certain places for a certain period, let's say 6 hours. And then after 6 hours, they have to knock out another area and then get that one on. So the talks are just too much, and we decided to come with you and so that we show you that this one was the one that was here to supplement the Bijilo substation, but unfortunately it had some problems and we have to wait. At the moment the contractor is in India. They already given the specifications. The transformer has already been made and they did the testing. Next week, according to plans, they're going to start transporting that transformer to the Gambia. But we do expect it to be here sometime towards the end of March.
Piero Silva further stated that the public has a role to play in making sure that the structures and materials maintained by NAWEC at various locations are safe and untouched.
NAWEC is developing. We know we have some financial constraints. It's because of these multilateral institutions that are giving us projects that we are able to go this far since 2017. But when we are progressing, there are some Gambians who are bringing us back. We have our boreholes in the forest that people go and cut copper cables, and then those boreholes are rendered non-operational. As we speak yesterday, there's a borehole in Brikama, Medina. There are 2 boreholes at that remote area. Some people will go just to look for a copper that they will go and sell to these Ferrari people for less than $300. And one of those boreholes is going to pump millions and millions of liters of water per hour. So at the moment, people are now talking that those who are getting the source from that area are not getting water.
Pierre Silva concluded with this message to the public.
But I will apologize that definitely our customers are going through very trying times, and we just have to, crave on their indulgence to bear with us until we are able to fix it, and then everything will be over.
NAWEC officials are confident that with the arrival of the OMVG project, which is expected to start by next month, electricity and water will be sufficient for all. Babukar Si, QTV News.
Now, the Judiciary of the Gambia on Thursday held a joint conference with the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia and other stakeholders on women and children's laws as part of events to celebrate the opening of the legal year 2020. Omar Pijalo has the rest of that story.
The activity was aimed at creating an opportunity for the judiciary to discuss with stakeholders the challenges that women and children face in contact with the justice system. The Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallo said the judiciary is committed to promoting and protecting women and children's welfare, adding that there is an increase in the number of children's courts and there are plans to have children's courts in every region in the country.
The main objective of today's conference is to discuss the law relating to women and to children, and also to discuss how the management of issues relating to them by the justice process can be made more sensitive, can be made more responsive to their vulnerability and to their needs. I am optimistic that the outcome of our own conference will be of benefit to all stakeholders in the strengthening and fortification of the legal regime relating to the future of the most vulnerable segment of our society, and in general, the nation itself.
The president of the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, Flag Ananjai, said Flag over the years have been actively engaged in various ways in providing pro bono legal services to women and children. She said Flag will continue promoting and protecting the rights of women and children.
The natural rights of women and children are most importantly and foremost provided for in the Supreme Law of the land in sections 28 and 29 of the 1997 Constitution, the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the CEDAW, the Protocol of African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Right of Women in Africa, the Maputo Protocol, and the Convention on the Rights of Children, respectively.
Gordon Jonathan Lewis, the UNICEF representative, gave an assurance of his office's continuous support to the strengthening of the country's justice system, especially in women and children's laws, and called on the government to raise the age of criminal responsibility for children in conflict with the law.
We would like to encourage the government and the Judiciary of the Gambia to support the ending of detention of children in contact with the law through legal reforms, including raising the minimum age of criminal responsibility.
Hussein Tomasi, the Solicitor General who represented the Attorney General and Minister of Justice at the event, has this to say.
Section 20 of the Women's Act, which provides that every woman is entitled to a period of 6 months maternity leave with pay or with comparable social benefit. This is not being observed throughout the Gambia. Private sector entities are not observing this.
Officials believe the day-long event will help to bridge gaps in the laws relating to women and children, strengthen the capacity of the justice sector staff, revisit areas worthy of advancement, and strengthen the relationship between the judiciary and its stakeholders. Asatu Jallosi, the Judicial Secretary, delivered the welcoming remarks. Reporting for KTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
And from that report there by Omar P. Jallo, we'll now take a short commercial break, but the news continues when we return. Don't go away.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from a short commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Ansumana Esonyasi. Now, the country representative of the West African Competitiveness Project, WACOMP, has commended the women of Fonyi Berefet Garden for performing extremely well in the last cold season production following a site visit to the garden by United Purpose. More in this report. The women of Berefet are being praised for their impressive performance in the application of climate-smart agriculture for resilience, having secured funding from the European Union to implement the West Africa Competitiveness Project, WACOMP. United Purpose and WACOMP officials embark on a site visit to various farms across the country to see firsthand how they are faring. Lumana Kamashap, WACOMP country representative, says his organization is impressed by the performance of the women of Berefet and called on other project beneficiaries to emulate them.
This job was Berefet. And what I saw here, I was so impressed. And I have seen many other gardens around, and I have seen some real quality in these other gardens as well. It's just that at Berefet, everything has come together at the same time.
Fatou Jame Toure expressed profound gratitude to United Purpose and WACOMP for their support to women gardeners, especially the women of Berefet, who she described as very hardworking.
These significant efforts are recognized by the government of the Gambia, and thank United Purpose and partners for the genuine partnership throughout these years.
Nansa Toure of United Purpose Pavilion at the over in Banjul, and this is his report.
This marks the official handing over ceremony of the pavilion at the Arch 22 in Banjul, since it was constructed by the Gambia Ports Authority in 2014, following a request by the ex-President Jammeh's government. The facility has always served as a venue for celebrating national events, cultural festivities, and other important ceremonies. Yankuba Mane, the communications officer of the Gambia Ports Authority, explains why the GPA decided to hand over the pavilion to the NCAC.
Considering the fact that our mandate does not include keeping historical monuments, historical facilities, or facilities that can be served for arts and culture, the management decided to transfer these services to the NCAC because it is better placed with arts and culture.
Usman M. Jobate, the managing director of the Gambia Ports Authority, also spoke about the handover.
The pavilion was built with the adjacent arch. The maintenance GPA was assisting in its management and general upkeep of the facility. But we deem it prudent to hand it over to the National Center for Arts and Culture, being the government agency that is responsible for national monuments and edifices. So it is in that regard that we decided to hand over the facility to the National Center for Arts and Culture.
Mr. Jobate further stated that the handing over is not the end of their support to the NCAC. He, however, advised that potential users of the venue need to liaise with the NCAC.
We will continue to collaborate with the center for the upkeep and maintenance of the facility and the immediate repair needs that are identified in terms of the painting, the utilities, and the facade in general. We have provisions in our budget to finance those repair needs so that the facility will be up to standard by the time we hand it over.
Hasum Sise, the managing director of the National Center for Arts and Culture, also explains.
For the past many years, this national monument has been well taken care of by the Gambia Ports Authority. Not only did they build this pavilion where national events take place regularly, but the Gambia Ports Authority has also over the years helped to refurbish and to maintain the arch itself. And for this we remain grateful because this is really a sign of your support to national heritage.
Being the guardian of the nation's cultural and historical heritage, the NCAC is also charged with conserving, promoting, and celebrating the country's artistic, cultural, and historical heritage. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
The Bainunka Family Association of the Gambia over the weekend held its International Cultural Festival in Fonyi Jaral village in the West Coast region. Lamin Dabo attended and Hina reports.
This International Cultural Festival brings together people from the Bainunka ethnic group who are found in the 3 West African countries, namely Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea-Bissau. The Bainunkas are said to be among the first settlers in these 3 countries. At the opening ceremony of the festival, Boubacar Sambu, the Secretary General of the Bainunka Family Association, shares the main objectives of the event.
This we call it Bainunka International Cultural Festival because when it is happening, it brings together Gambians, Senegalese, and also those from Guinea-Bissau together at one place in the Gambia, precisely in Jarol village, to celebrate the culture of the Bainunkas, but to also show the world that you may not hear a lot about Bainunkas, but they are still existing, and their culture is still not hiding. We can present it, and if you are here up to the end of the program, you are certainly going to see certain presentations that you have never seen anywhere before, because those things belong to only the Bainunkas. And you are going to see that we will present many cultural presentations, including circumcision, marriage, but you are also going to see our masquerades. Some of that you will identify, you will think that they belong to other tribes, but they actually belong to the Bainunkas, and you are going to hear a real history about them, particularly the Kumpo. You will see, and though there is another thing called the Kose, those are associated with other tribes today, but they are actually masquerades that belong to the Bainunkas.
Mr. Sambu further stated that the association has set up a 5-year strategic plan, part of which is to do research and rewrite the history of the Bainunkas. He explains their other plans.
Part of our plans for next year and other years is to be able to establish a structure, perhaps one classroom or more, where we will be teaching Bainunka language. We have actually started teaching it in our WhatsApp groups, where every Thursday we delegate that to speaking Bainunka language. We greet each other in Bainunka, we ask questions in Bainunka and have response as to how do they call this. When you want to say this in Bainunka, how do you say it? So that is a continuous process. And importantly, we have a culture where we want to promote the peaceful coexistence of all tribes. And that is why we appointed Esa Toure, a history lecturer, a Mandinka, as the head of the Bainunka research team. He is the one heading the research team, and he's working with us to embark on a lot of research to help properly write the history of the Bainunkas.
Suleiman A.S. Mane, the social secretary of the association, expresses appreciation to all those who contributed to the event's success and call for more support.
Gambia We are calling for support from institutions, individuals in the Gambia and abroad so that we can fulfill our objectives, part of which is to promote the rich culture of the country and strengthen the peaceful coexistence and oneness for which Gambia is renowned.
The organizers say this international cultural festival is a great step towards building and maintaining a peaceful society, which they hope will be inherited in the future generations to preserve their culture and tradition. For QTV News, I am Lamin Alhaj Fandindabo.
And that is all about it for this bulletin, but before we end, here's a recap for main headlines. On the margins of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the government of the Gambia, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, signed a general cooperation agreement with the Republic of Burundi. The National Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC, on Thursday, took journalists to Bijilo and Jabang substations to inform the public about recent intermittent power supply and blackouts in several communities. The Judiciary of the Gambia on Thursday held a joint conference with the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia and other stakeholders on women and children's laws. And the women of Fonyi Berefet have been commended by the country representative of Wacom and United Purpose for performing extremely well in the last cold season production in their garden. Well, that is all we have for you in this bulletin. Do join us at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching.